And it's Bird, it's the Kirk and Byrd Show, and we are here talking VHSL quarterfinals for classes 1 through 6. And this is going to be a lot of fun because we're going to talk about girls basketball. And everybody here agrees Virginia has some of the best girls talent in the country, plays some of the top talent coaching anywhere you'll see. I love the girls game. We've spent an extra amount of time and emphasis this year on girls basketball because we want you guys to if you just experience it, go watch the games. It's not just Caitlin Clark. There are some tremendous athletes out here, and so we want to make sure we give girls basketball its due. So with me today, we've got Justin Ditmore. He's from out there in the Roanoke, Lynchburg, all that area. Welcome to the show, Justin.
What's up, fellas? Enjoy it as always. And yeah, you talk about girls basketball. Hey, Virginia Tech's women have sold out more games than the men.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah.
I love healthy women. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So good stuff.
And you got some great programs we're going to talk about down there in Roanoke. So we're excited about Salem and some of the others.
We've got Chris Jollay, Nova, who's coached girls basketball for a number of years, knows the game, and really has a great appreciation for girls basketball. Welcome to the show, Chris.
It is great to be here. I'm excited for this girls tournaments. Like you wouldn't believe. It's going to be some great action.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then, of course, Matt Hatfield, Mr. VA Preps, knows like the dude is an encyclopedia. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, Kirk, Rusty, Chris, Justin, always a pleasure. In addition to doing VirginiaPreps.com, I'm also the play-by-play voice for the Old Dominion women's basketball team, which I'm still a little bothered by your background, Rusty, because we lost at VCU this year. Oh, it was a tough loss. Tough loss. But you have the ODU hat. You have the ODU hat, so that's awesome. I appreciate that.
My niece is a
There you go. There you go.
Star at ODU. But
there you go. And I got to give a quick shout out to Alicia Milton-Jones. Whenever we mentioned Kenny Brooks at Virginia Tech's doing an awesome job. VCU having a good year. Another 20-plus win season for her. Yeah, another 20-plus win season for Alicia and the ODU women. So much good girls basketball talent in our state, the high school level. A lot of them stay in state, some go out of state, but it's just a wealth of talent, and the future looks mighty bright looking at the boards with the freshmen and sophomores we got across the state. Good gracious, it's going to be loaded for a couple of years.
Yeah, and
coaches all know, the college coaches, they know Virginia.
We're talking public schools here, but if we were to also talk private schools, we got Paul VI, great girls basketball program. Kendall Dudley, who's at Sidwell Friends, her mom led Woodbridge High School to the state championship, I believe in 2019, maybe, or 2018. But I was also Kendall's basketball coach in youth basketball. All right. And she's a McDonald's All-American from Virginia. So there you go.
Taught her everything she knows, or just 70%?
Yeah. No, okay. I taught her. This was a mostly boys league. Some teams had one, maybe two girls. She was my best player, and she was younger than most people. Like, this is like 6th, 7th, 8th graders. She's like in 5th or 6th grade, and she's balling. So, and her mom was my assistant coach, and her mom knows a little bit about basketball. Anyway,
was National Coach of the Year, Naismith National Coach of the Year. I don't want to go off on a tangent, Rusty. You take back over, but I will say this: Kendall's going to UCLA. Everybody's going to know that name in a couple years because she is going to be an NIL and a social media star. She's got a great personality, fantastic young lady. She's great in the media. She's already been on TV. So Kendall Dudley is going to be there. I started watching girls basketball in the 6th grade. Phoebus won a state championship. I don't think it was their first year, but their second year, where they had they didn't have seniors. So Phoebus won a state championship their first full senior year. The great Lakeisha Fretz out of there. They won several. We talked with Gainesville's coach earlier, the purity and fundamentals and hustle of the girls game. I love watching girls. So let's get started.
Yeah. And like I said, we've covered a lot of girls basketball. And just last night, we'll start with Class 6. I was at Gainesville versus OP, and atmosphere was electric. The place was packed, and the crowds were really into it. So if we go with that Class 6 bracket, a lot of really good games. We've got Manchester against Woodson. All right. We've Centerville, Gainesville. And then in the next part of the bracket, we've got Robinson, Thomasdale, Osborne Park, Oakton. And again, since we're going Class 6 and most of these teams are from up here, we'll start with you, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, again, Class 6 is Northern Virginia's wheelhouse. We got in 6 teams again this year. Osborne Park, Oakton with Fred Priester, Gainesville, Centerville, who knocked off the 4-time defending state champion Madison Warhawks in overtime the other night. And then Woodson and Robinson, as you mentioned. So this is good. You know, normally we're thinking, hey, another state title up here in Northern Virginia ain't going to be with the Warhawks, but it's going to be with somebody else. Well, you know, down in Richmond, Manchester and Thomas Dale are really, really tough this year. Thomas Dale beat Osborne Park by like 40 points either earlier this year. Now, as we mentioned before, I think Osborne Park has improved. They're a young team, have a lot of sophomores. I think if there's a rematch, it's not going to be anywhere close to that kind of game. However, Thomas Dale and Manchester are juggernauts down there. Manchester lost in the state final last year. Matt was at that game to Madison. Madison was able to control the pace in that game and defeat Manchester. This year, I don't know. You know, with Mia Woolfolk and all that down there, they're a juggernaut. They get a Woodson team that's been playing well, but you get to go to Manchester. That's a tough one, man. Woodson, well coached, finished 5th in the Patriot District, and this is a theme for the guys too. West Potomac, you know, finishes 5th. Well, not this year, but they finished 2nd in the district this year. But you see teams from the Patriot District that will finish 5th and then make a run far because it's such a good district.
Yes.
Northern Virginia is so deep. It goes for the Concord district as well. In the Concord district, Centerville won the regular season. Oakton won the district tournament. And then, you know, Madison was threatening to win the regional tournament before they lost in overtime. So good districts there. It's not going to be a slam dunk for Manchester and Thomas Dale. Let's talk about Osborne Park. Great young team led by Key Rainey, Chrissy Kelly, a great coach, been around a long time. They play small, but they're very talented. They do have one center, a legitimate center above 6 feet in Alex Brown, who they can deploy as well. You know, but Centerville right now is also, they're a smaller team. They're extremely good guards. Oakton plays good defense. You know, I don't know what a key was Robinson getting Thomas Dale up here. I believe Robinson, I always get them confused. Maybe you guys know. I think it's at Robinson where Thomas Dale will play at Robinson. I'm not positive of that.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's good. Robinson has Georgia Simonson, who's a legitimate post player that scored 27 points and had 10 rebounds in the win over Woodson. So that is a possible upset where Robinson can take out Thomas Dale. But this is a year where it's a little different. Class 6, Northern Virginia girls basketball has usually been kind of a slam dunk to get, you know, to win the state championship of late. This year, it's going to be hard going through Thomas Dale and Manchester. But there's the flip side of that is there's 6 very capable Northern Virginia teams in this tournament.
Yeah,
real quick, Thomas Dale, you know, they get to come to Robinson. If you look at the teams in the draw, that's a pretty tough first round. I think they've got the revenge factor in place because Manchester's on the other one, but you know, and then they're going to be facing, you know, maybe Chrissy Kelly led team in Osborne Park, who's playing Oakton, and their coach just hit 800. I think that Dale got the tougher, obviously got a tougher draw, and I think that I don't think it's that big of a slam dunk that those 2 Richmond teams are going to win it. I think they're favored. Matt, what's your take? I know you know quite a bit. I mean, our wheelhouse is Princess Anne. We talk about those girls down to 5, but you know, these teams up here are deep. What is your take on 6 and what you may know about, let's say, the Richmond teams and the Nova teams?
Well, Chris detailed it perfectly. I mean, I think this field is an excellent field. 7 of the 8 teams have at least 21 wins, guys, and the best win percentage is Thomas Dale, who was top 25 nationally ranked before they lost to Manchester in the final. Oh, by the way, they're going to take on Georgia Simonson and that Robinson team. Just hearing, all the things I've heard about Simonson. If we got a Simonson and Robinson versus Mia Woolfolk in Manchester matchup in the post with Woolfolk being that 6'2" Georgia signing, that would be awesome to see. I never count out Christy Kelly at Osborne Park. She's a terrific coach. Gainesville's had a nice year. So has Centerville. I think Woodson's the surprise of the field, maybe the long shot of the field. Fred Priester just got in the Virginia High School Hall of Fame from Oakton, just announced recently. But I feel like and Chris and Justin, you guys can chime in if I'm wrong. I feel like we're headed for, even though Northern Virginia has been the dominant top dog as far as girls basketball goes, especially at the Class 6 level, I feel like we're headed for a rematch in another chapter of Manchester and Dale. It just seems like we're on that collision course because those two are just so fierce right now, and that first matchup was great. And if they see each other again at the Siegel Center, it'll be packed.
Yeah, I heard there was an injury Thomas Dale had in that game. I'm not sure about that. That could be a factor as well. I want to shout out Gainesville real quick. They're very, very tall. They can give a lot of teams a lot of problems, especially Manchester if they make it that far. And they have a great guard in Madison McKenzie. I tend to agree with you, Matt. Thomas Dale, Manchester, people are very excited for that. We could have a very good rematch down in Richmond in a couple weeks. But it's a minefield, so we'll see.
Yeah. I know Chris would, if Chris was to pick, he would say probably you would go Centerville versus Robinson in the final because you got to pick two Northern teams. But who do you think, guys? Even Justin, who do we think we can expect to see in the final, knowing that 6 or 7 of these teams really can do it, can get to the final? What would you think will be your final two? Not necessarily who you want, but who do you think will be there?
I think either Thomas Dale or Manchester is going to fall before they get to the final. It certainly wouldn't surprise me, Matt, if that
Dale's more likely. I think Dale's more likely.
What's that? I'm sorry, Kirk.
I think Dale is more likely. They had a much tougher draw.
Yeah, I think so too. So I'm gonna say look out for Osborne Park, and look out for Gainesville as well. Gainesville just has the height, which I think is gonna play against those two Richmond teams if they can advance. Obviously, Osborne Park has been Gainesville's kind of death knell of late. They lost four times to Osborne Park, although the last one was 62-60. And Centerville, I think, is very dangerous as well. All eyes are going to be on, Centerville. Let me just shout out Joe McLean out there. Great coach, doing a great job. Their guards are fantastic, and guards win tournament games. But all eyes, Kirk, are going to be on that Robinson Thomas Dale first round matchup up here. I think that's going to be huge.
Yeah. I think based on what I've seen on the records and with the records and in the games, I've actually what I would like to see is Gainesville OP. But what I think is going to happen based on what the coaches we've had on the show and just, what I've heard, I think it's going to be tough, but, sometimes, and unless there's an injury that does preclude, I think it's not bad sometimes to get a loss if it can help you refocus. And that may motivate Thomas Dale to get and seek revenge. I think it's going to be Thomas Dale in Manchester. I hope I'm wrong. All right, but I think it'll be Thomas Dale, and I think Thomas Dale will prove to everyone why they are the best team in the state and one of the best in the country.
I had to look up that Woolfolk name because guys our age, 1988 Richmond Spiders, they had that 6'5" Peter Woolfolk. He was tearing everybody up, and his daughter is Mia at Manchester. So that's a big Richmond name. So it's going to be interesting. Just had to put that in there.
All right. Matt, any last thoughts? Justin?
Yeah, I'll give real quickly. I'll go Manchester over Dalen OT in the final, and in one-on-one, I'll go with Mia taking her dad this time. She'll win the one-on-one.
Okay, all right. Okay, so
Osborne Park over Gainesville. There you go. No
There you
757. No 757 to be a homer. I've lived here for 33 years. I've paid all these taxes. I've paid enough in tolls to buy a house. And I am going with Osborne Park beating Gainesville.
Hey, let me just jump in here to give you an ovation,
Now,
Kirk.
Coach Kelly, all right. I love my Prince William teams. I want this to be bulletin board material. I want you to have a face of Rusty Byrd in your locker room and people throwing darts at it, saying, "Did you hear what Rusty said? How could he go against us? And he just saw us last night." All right. So, but I want to be wrong. And just so you all know, I do that sometimes. I pick the team that against the team I want, then I can be right or wrong either way. I mean, right either way, or feel good about myself. So, all right, that's Class 6. Let's go into Class 5. Now, I don't know if this is the strongest top to bottom, but it has some great programs in it. But let's first let me hear a little bit about Patrick Henry and what you know about them, Justin.
Yeah, Patrick Henry, 23-5. They lost the regional final. Very good basketball team. You look at their losses. They lost to James River Midlothian in the regional final. They lost to a 4A school in South Carolina in a tournament. They lost to a 3A school in North Carolina in a tournament. Their other losses are to William Fleming, a very good program, and a Lord Botetourt program that a very good team that got upset in the regional playoffs, was a favorite to make states and didn't do it. So they've been very successful all year. They've got a 6'4" post player in Layla Staples. She's very capable. Point guard Jada Cook can handle the ball. They're a very talented team. What I've seen too many times, though, is PH and Fleming down here heading to Richmond and Northern Virginia and facing teams that are maybe a little more battle-tested, that have played stronger teams more often. You know, down here, Patrick Henry's in the River Ridge district. So they're playing Cave Spring, Hidden Valley, Salem, Blacksburg, Christiansburg, Pulaski. Well, those are all Class 4 and Class 3 teams.
Yeah.
And they're playing them, 12 times a year. So not to say that those teams can't beat them, but you're not getting that test game after game after game. You know, you talk about some of those Class 6 schools and just the gauntlet they have to run to be that good. And this is where I think teams like PH have trouble. They're going to face Briarwoods. Briarwoods has one loss. And I just worry when they get in there, it's just a matter of, teams that are a little too battle tested. And PH is a very good team, but I think they're kind of walking into it.
So I just wanted to add to that. And Loudoun, that's been a problem in Loudoun County as well on the girls' side, not kind of realizing you need to get battle tested before you reach this kind of level, especially Class 5, as Matt's going to tell you in a minute. Just those beach teams are just juggernauts. Now, Briarwoods did go out and test themselves a little bit this year. They have a win over Highland Springs of Richmond, which is a good team. But James River, also a very solid team on this side of the bracket. But yeah, that's a great point you make, Justin.
Hey, real quick, Chris, Briarwood's guard that's injured, do we know her health? Because that's key.
I do not know if she played.
The young lady's name is Chen.
Yes,
Chen.
Correct.
Yeah. I think she may be able to play. I'm sorry I didn't make a couple phone calls because I saw that game. I saw that injury. And that is key. That is a very key. So, and it's interesting. We'll talk about Woodgrove in 4 because that's a team I like to maybe win one. But I just wanted to ask about that.
Yeah, I don't know if she played in the regional final against Stonebridge. I'm not sure. I haven't looked that up yet. I haven't found that out yet. I did not get a chance to see that game, so I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Matt, why don't you, that bottom half of the bracket, those are all 7-5-7 teams, and we know great tradition of Princess Anne, but Minchfield just recently won the state championship. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Coach Adrian Webb's team had a lead for much of the way in the Region 5B final, lost to Norview at Norfolk State, haven't beaten them a couple times before. And you have the interesting storyline of Soraya Griffin, who is signed to play at VCU against the school she started out at, which was Princess Anne in the quarterfinals. So yeah, that's a little storyline subplot for that game. I've got a chance to watch Princess Anne and Deep Creek in the Region 5A final. That was a fabulous game. Deep Creek's got a guard, Asia Keel. She's a sophomore. She is quick as lightning. They were up 8 early in that game, only up 2 at the half, got down 8 in the second half, battled back. The Ocean Lakes gym was just lit for that game, and then Princess Anne pulled it out late, which is no surprise. Coach Darnell Dozier, his 20th regional title. He's now 734 and 59 in his career. That's a 92% winning percentage. He's won 13 of these things. He's running out of rings for fingers and toes at this point. And he's got maybe the best freshman in the state of Micah Ojo, who had, I think it was like 21 points, 12 rebounds, 6 blocks, 3 steals in the region final. It's hard to go against him. That would be my pick, but I will caution and say this. Don't be surprised, as Chris talked about, if James River wins this, because I had coaches when the season started tell me James River is good enough, believe it or not, to even beat the dragon or monster that is Princess Anne and the dominant force in girls basketball in our state. They have beaten Manchester this year. They did lose to Osborne Park, but they played a tough schedule. So I'll pick Princess Anne. I think Menchville's really good. Norview's really good. Deep Creek is going to be in the mix for years to come because they're mostly sophomores and juniors. But I would not be stunned if James River hoisted the title, and I'll go with Princess Anne because it's just a smart pick. And how do you go against Darnell Dozier, who's won so many of
Right.
these things?
Yeah. Kirk, your fight. Did you have a thought or a pick? Who did you pick to win?
Well, on the top, James River beat, I believe, Manchester.
Yeah.
And that speaks for itself. We probably haven't said enough about James River. I saw Briarwood's play. Impressive team. I think that if Chen is not playing, they're going to struggle in that opener. I think they will struggle against Patrick Henry. I like James River coming out of there. And on the bottom, I got to pull for Menchville. Growing up where I grew up, Karen Barefoot, who had 1,000 points. Where did she have 1,000 assists? She coached at ODU for a bit and UNC Wimbledon. She was a great Monarch, and Rusty and I both know a lot of Menchville Monarchs. So I'm pulling for Menchville, but I think Princess Anne wins this Class 5 over James River.
Yeah, James River, like they've played. I think they've a tough schedule. They lost to OP. They can certainly win it, but I'm just going to do the basic math, guys. Come on, my sister graduated from Menchville, so there we go. All right, Menchville Monarchs. All right, they're going if they can get.
You're really picking them. You really pick it because if they beat PA, I think they're going to win it.
Yeah. So let me just say this. I don't know why the state is letting the different classes decide, but again, I'm so glad Class 6, and it proved to be the right thing to do in football by switching up and not just shepherding a Fairfax County school directly into the finals where anything can happen. You've got, and then in Class 5, they do the same thing though, where all these 7-5-7 teams are beating each other up just to get to the final. I would love to have seen Princess Anne and maybe Menchville, or try to meet in the finals, or just make it like it used to be, where you can meet the team from your same region in the state finals. I don't know. That's just me. I think that bottom bracket of 7-5-7 teams, top to bottom, is tougher. But only one team is going to come out of there. But again, I'm pulling for Menchville to win.
Yeah, and I just gotta say, Class 5, it gives Northern Virginia a better chance. Normally, Class 5, we're up against the gauntlet, the Richmond Beach, and then you got Patrick Henry Roanoke in this case. It's a gauntlet for Northern Virginia teams. But shout out to Briarwood's coach, Raven Short, and Stonebridge's coach, Emily Thompson. They've done great jobs this year. Stonebridge probably a year away, but she's done a great job. Emily Thompson and Stonebridge lost a kid to O'Connell, one of their young kids, in the offseason, and they've had a great year. Played Briarwood's close. Tough match for first round match for Stonebridge, but I am going to ride with Briarwoods a little bit to advance a little bit, because at least maybe get to that final. Because I love Hope Drake. I love their seniors. They're all seniors. They're not very deep. And as you mentioned, Kirk, if Tia Chen isn't playing, that's a big problem. But these are seniors. Hope Drake is the kind of player, she made 50 free throws in a row a few weeks ago. She's one of the best shooters around. Noelle Cabanis is a legitimate post player who is very athletic in the post. I'm going to ride with Briar Woods a little bit in this tournament.
Fun to watch, man. They're like a helter-skelter team. They run up and down that court. They defend. They're not very big, though. So they're going to have some size will hurt them.
Yeah, Cabanis can't go out. Cabanis can't get fouls or else they're in big trouble. So, and it's kind of for all of them, though. Not much depth there, but they're the players they do play in their rotation, they're almost all seniors, very competent.
Good stuff. All right, let's move on to Class 4. Class 4, we've got Charlottesville against Tuscarora. All right, we've got Woodgrove, Salem in the top bracket, and then we've got Hampton, Chancellor, and Monacan, Jamestown. Matt, you want to start us out with those?
Yeah, Hampton, the defending champ, led by Sean DeBailey. They graduated their top scorer in Kennedy Harris, the player of the year who's at George Mason, but Kalia Perry has stepped up in a big way for them, and they beat Jamestown, who was previously undefeated in the region championship. Wasn't too close. Monacan's got a history of girls basketball. You just think back a few years ago with Megan Walker, who went to UConn, WNBA. They're no stranger or newbie on the scene. So they look like they're on a hit collision course for the semifinals. But as I'm sure Chris can attest to, you talk about seniors, and Woodgrove's got like 6 of them, and Angelina Nice and that group with Shores and company, they hit 9 threes, I think it was, against Tuscarora, and I've been hearing all year long how great they are, and I feel like they're the favorite, even though Hampton's the defending champ. I feel like Woodgrove is the team to beat in this bracket.
Oh, okay. All right. Justin, any of those teams are you familiar with? Chancellor?
Yeah, Salem. Yeah, Salem.
Oh, Salem. That's right. Yeah, Salem.
You're all about that because Woodgrove wants to know about Salem. You're the MVP.
Yeah, I was thinking Virginia. There's so many Salems in the state. Go ahead. You got this.
There's a lot. So Salem has lost 4 games all year. One was to Charlottesville, who's undefeated in the regional final. The other 3 are to Patrick Henry. So that's the list. Okay. Patrick Henry and Charlottesville. Salem's a good ball club. I watched them play in the River Ridge final against Patrick Henry. They have good size. They handle the ball. They can shoot. Now, I'm a little worried about running into Woodgrove after what I just heard from Matthew, but Salem's a good ball team. And that school has shown the propensity that the stage doesn't get too big. You remember I talked about how Salem was going to beat Phoebus in the state football title game.
And they almost did.
It went down to the final play.
Yep.
So the stage isn't too big for Salem. They're a good ball team, but Charlottesville's waiting on them. If they're to get by Woodgrove, chances are Charlottesville's waiting on them, and Charlottesville's already beaten them once. So it's going to be a tough stretch.
Yeah. For me, my analysis is I was from the city of Hampton. Go Crabbers.
When in doubt.
Real quick though, I'm sorry. I just going to ask Jamestown, who Phoebus laid 102 on, by the way. They've got a very impressive record. Do you know much about Jamestown up in Williamsburg?
Haven't seen them live, but they are a good team. And I actually asked Marty O'Brien before they played Hampton in the region championship what he expected. He thought there'd be a little bit of an athleticism gap with Hampton, and it seemed like that was the case. So I haven't laid eyes on them this year, but they've had a nice story, and I think they're going to be in the mix for years to come. It's just a tricky matchup with Monacan, who in its region final, guys, I believe they put up, was it 90? I saw, they put up 90 on the board against Chancellor, who I was hearing great things about all year long. So you put up 90 points, it means you've got a lot of weapons on the floor. So I wonder if Jamestown has enough defensively to slow them down in this thing. And that top part of the bracket, I mean, just talking about Salem's really good. Charlottesville's undefeated, and it feels like they're not even the top first, second, or third pick to win this thing. They're sitting there going, we're being disrespected. Yeah. So if they get through, they should and can and probably will play the disrespect card. But I got the sense we might be looking at a Woodgrove, Hampton, Woodgrove, Monacan. Again, teams out there can keep that from happening. But Woodgrove's really looking like the team to me as far as the firepower they've got. And Chris would know more of the personnel, having seen them all year long.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one Northern Virginia team, boys or girls, I'm riding on this year, it's the Woodgrove girls. Obviously, Class 6, a little more jumbled. I'll ride with a bunch of teams there, but Woodgrove, I think it's their year. And just from seeing, and Matt will probably remember this as well, Sadie Shores, their point guard, she's going to Stony Brook. I saw her playing
She's
with
good,
Woodrow.
man. She's good. Whew.
She's so good. And
Angelina Nice is a very nice player too. She's going to reference.
And Shores, I saw play when Woodgrove lost in the state final 2 years ago. They weren't going to win that game, even though they had an injury. Ashley Stedman, one of their leading scorers, was injured for that game. Sadie Shores had to try and do it all in that game. I think she's ready to do it all this year, and she's got a lot more help this time around. And remember, she won a state championship for Paul VI last year. She is as battle tested as they come, and Derek Fisher and Todd Turner and those guys, they're underrated coaches. Derek Fisher's been around forever. I'm going to agree with Matt. I mean, I'm riding Woodgrove this year.
Oh, cool. Good stuff. Great. Hey, we got a lot of input. Great info right there for you all. Let's go.
Give a plug for Woodgrove real quick, Rusty.
Yeah,
because I've seen them. So Hampton, very, very impressive. I like Hampton coming out of that side. I've seen Woodgrove. I like them a lot. Justin Ditmore, the team you described in Salem is very similar to Woodgrove. They've got size, they've got athleticism. Normally a lot of times when a Northern Virginia team plays a 7-5-7 team, I worry about the gravitas. Those girls have got gravitas. They are not going to be intimidated by Hampton. Hampton's a great. That's who I'm picking. I'm going to pick Hampton and Woodgrove, and I like Woodgrove. I like Woodgrove to win this. I think they're going to beat a very good Hampton team. I've lived in Loudoun County for 26 years. I only lived in Hampton for 18, but I'm very impressed with Woodgrove. And if they do win this, they're going to earn it because Hampton is a very Shonda has a great team down there. Dwight Vick talks about her all the time, and Coach Mike Talon has helped out with them too, by the way, Rusty. But I like Woodgrove to win this one.
Oh, good stuff. Now, Class 3 has a lot of familiar names for us. We've got Abingdon against Turner Ashby. We've got Liberty. Some of this sounds like football. Liberty Christian against
Good schools, man.
This ain't right. Look, Lafayette Meridian, okay? Woo! Brentsville Lake Taylor. So is this the football final eight or what? All right. I'll tell you, last year, Carroll County against Brentsville District, I was pulling big time for Brentsville District. Coach Kayla Delaney right down the street here in Prince William County. And we're going to have her on the show this week. I'm pulling for them, so I'm biased, but You can tell us a little bit more about that top part of the bracket, Justin. But I know for me, Brentsville, the way they upset Meridian in the state semis to get there was just magic. I mean, we were at the Patriot game that night, Kirk and I, but on my phone we were all everybody was kind of huddled around trying to see that Brentsville district win over Meridian. I'll just quickly, I'm going to go. I hope it's Brentsville District, but I want them to play Carroll County in the rematch and get their revenge. But Justin, tell us a little bit about those teams.
Yeah, Carroll County 22-4 lost to Abingdon in the regional final. Carroll County's always here. Death, taxes, Carroll County makes the girls' state tournament. It's just how it goes. They've been doing it for 30 years. They're playing an undefeated LCA team. Now, LCA plays in the Seminole District. Not traditionally a very strong girls' basketball district. I'm going to read you some scores from some of their games this year. 61-18, 71-18, 49-18, 68-10, 68-25, 62-19, 73-32. Those are all district scores. So I think it begs the question, is LCA that good? Or is that district that down?
Right.
That when you're traditionally housing people by 40 and 50 points in district play and your name's not John Marshall, there's a red flag or two there. So I'm really interested to see LCA taking on Carroll. Carroll County's been there, done that in this. This is kind of new territory for LCA, and they're not going to win 71-18 over Carroll County.
Carroll County, man. I like Carroll County.
Real interested in that one.
Yeah. Yeah, what that to me, what these teams that go out and schedule the tougher teams, that is of great value when you get to this time of year. Like you don't want to lose, but you want to be challenged. You want to be challenged.
Yeah.
You want to see how your kids react.
If you think your team's good, you got to test them. Now, if you don't think your team's very good, go ahead and go schedule wins. Go find teams that aren't as good, build some confidence in a younger team, maybe. Go get a couple easy wins. That's great. But if you think you're going to be good, it behooves you to strengthen that metal, because when you get to playoff time, you don't get to run up 71-18 on somebody. You're playing somebody who's pretty good. So, again, I think that's going to be a real interesting quarterfinal.
Yeah. And Matt, we'll let you go last. But Chris, why don't you've seen Meridian and Brentsville District, and you're familiar with a number of these teams.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're two really coached good teams. You talk about Coach Delaney. I mean, she's probably done a better job this year than she did last year, in my opinion. They lost Savannah Price. They lost, obviously, Alden Yergi, who went up to Siena, their Division I point guard. Savannah Price, who transferred to Freedom.
Yeah.
And they're looking as dangerous kind of as they did last year. Peyton Brown, Brooke Miller, Lynn Miller, kids we love. Macy Mays, a good young guard. They're looking good. And Meridian is a very good team as well. They've got a couple kids. Maureen Tremblay is the one kid that, she's a power forward that kind of gets it done inside, gets, good offense, runs through her a lot. And then Ellie Friesen is a junior, I believe, who hits a ton of threes there. They're both dangerous teams in what I think, and I'm so glad Matt and Justin are here to help me with this. In a field that's not quite as dominant. I mean, Carroll County was just fearsome the last 2 years. But I think now the field, you've got some really good teams that could certainly beat Brentsville and Meridian. But I also feel like it's a little more wide open than it has been.
Yeah. I want to hear from Matt, because Matt, we got Lafayette and Lake Taylor with the two Northern Virginia teams. But Rusty, you and I know this. This may be a little hidden thing, but Brentsville and Meridian is a big rivalry in ladies hoops. I mean, it is a big deal. And what I want to know from Matt is how is this going to pan out? Do they have a chance in facing each other? Can they get past the Lafayette and Lake Taylor?
I think they do have a chance. I think this is in the Tidewater pocket. Sandra Sawyer is a fantastic coach. Lake Taylor had to beat Grafton on a game-winning buzzer beater in the corner from 3 to get to that point. And Lafayette, player note for them is Dynasty Pierce. She had 12 points and 6 blocks in the first half of the region championship against Lake Taylor alone. She's really good, but Lafayette got going late in the year. They had some injuries, didn't get really healthy and click until late. I don't know if they're quite at the level of Meridian Brentsville. We've got 5 teams that are back in the state tournament of the 8th that were there last year in Class 3 with Meridian, with Lafayette, with Brentsville, with defending champ Carroll County, and with Liberty Christian. I'm interested to see with Carroll County. Last year, they breezed through this. They won every tournament game in the state playoffs by at least 27 points, including beating that undefeated LCA team, the team that's undefeated now, by 27 last year in the state semis, and Brentsville by 37 in the final. And Alyssa Irvin, she's just electric. I mean, 37 points. She had 19 in the fourth quarter, but they lost that game to Abingdon in the region final, and they also lost pretty comfortably, as I'm sure Justin knows, to William Fleming, who's a good girls team. But I don't feel like Chris made a point. I don't think this Carroll County team is as dominant as last year. I do think the winner of the quarterfinal game with undefeated Liberty Christian and Carroll County wins it. But I would say, if I said Class 4, the no respect, disrespect team, Ronnie Dangerfield team, was Charlottesville's undefeated. I think the team that's no respect, no love is Abingdon. They just beat Carroll County to win the region championship.
Say Turner Ashby, yeah.
Yeah, and they've got Turner Ashby coming up. So I feel like they're the kind of being slept on team because they got 5 or 6 losses on the year and nobody's talking about them. So they might have the chip on their shoulder if they get through and see either LCA or the reigning champ in Carroll County. I think the big question is who else is going to step up for Carroll County besides Alyssa Irvin, who feels like she's the best player in the field, but I'm not sure they're the best team. So if you put my feet to the fire, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, LC is undefeated for a reason. I do think the district's a little weak that they play in, but I'm going to take the chance that they pull this thing off, which would be maybe the only girls basketball team that goes wire to wire, which would be a story.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
You gonna win it, Matt? Are you picking a winner?
I'm gonna go. I say the winner of that quarterfinal, Liberty Christian Carroll County takes it, and I'll go out on a limb and say the undefeated team takes it.
All
Liberty
right.
Christian.
Kirk, did you pick?
No, but I picked Brentsville to win 3 in football. Liberty Christian was it Liberty Christian that beat them in the final? I believe it was.
Yeah.
Liberty Christian won it. Yeah. Beat Lafayette in the final. Beat Lafayette in the final. Beat Lafayette.
It was that's right. You're right.
Yeah.
It was semifinal. I think Brentsville has a really good chance. This is not just a sentimental favorite. Brentsville's it's an older school down in Nokesville. Nokesville's got what? Patriot. It's got Kettle Run. Is Kettle Run fall?
Kettle Run in that
Nokesville's in 2. So anyway, I think that that's going to be a great matchup. If I like that matchup. So I like Meridian facing Brentsville again. I think it's going to be a revenge factor. I like Brentsville. I think the fact that they lost last year in the final is going to be advantageous. And then I'm going to go with Carroll County. That tradition of winning, like Justin said, I don't think Liberty Christian's really been tested. So Brentsville, let's go. Let's do this. Let's win that state championship for Nokesville.
All right. Good stuff. So that was class 3. Let's go to class 2. And when we talk class 2, does John Marshall have a girls team that we have to?
Let's hope not.
They do.
I'm sure they do, but
yeah, they're solid.
They're a number 1 seed. They're playing Page County in the quarters. So
yeah,
there we go.
They're solid. I have seen them. They're solid. I don't think they're, they played in the same tournament. Briar Woods kind of went down to Highland Springs. I want to say they lost to somebody like Edison or something like that, but they're very solid.
Yeah, right. Yeah. They're in the bracket. They're playing Page County in the bottom bracket, along with Strasburg is playing Amelia County. And then at the top, we have Central Wise against Liberty. Now, I'm not sure which Liberty is that.
I think it's the one down there, Roanoke.
It's Liberty Bedford, yeah.
Bedford.
Liberty Bedford.
Yeah, not Liberty up here in Fauquier.
Then you got Floyd County, Ridgeview. Justin, can we start with you? Are you familiar with some of these?
Well, I love Floyd County. And the Buffaloes, this is what they do, okay? Their girls basketball program is one of the best on this side of the state in the last 30 years. 18-7, won their region. Yeah, they have 7 losses. They lost to Franklin County, class 6, lost to Pulaski, and they lost 3 times to Carroll County. So we talk about being tested. This is a team that has played some of the bigger teams, hasn't beaten them, all of them, but they've beaten who they needed to. And I think this Floyd County team, you got to watch out for them. This is their coaching staff. They've been here so many times. The stage isn't too big. It's it's what they do. So I really like the Buffaloes.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right. Chris, are you familiar with any of these programs?
Not really. I'm sorry. I have limited help ability for class 2 and class 1. I'm very, like I said, I rarely leave Northern Virginia, and
there's no Clark County. There's no Clark County in this one.
Right. So, but I will get familiar. The good part is I will get familiar with them after the fact in Richmond.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Do you even want to make a guess?
I'd just be like, there wouldn't be an educated guess. So I'll defer to Justin and Matt.
Oh, hold on, Chris. If you say educated guess, then you got to always not count what Kirk and I say. Okay. So just.
No, you're going from some education. I'm going from almost no education.
All right.
Here. So let me wiggle out of this one, please.
Okay, no education. Kirk, your pick.
Got a rhyme to the reason about this pick. So my mom moved from Wise, Virginia, which is where my people are from, a great county, Carroll Dale, went to J.J. Kelly High School. My mom went to J.J. Kelly High School. She finished at Hampton High. Great athletes in Wise County. The Jones brothers, James Mitchell played for Tech. So Central Wise is actually J.J. Kelly and Big Stone Gap combined. I believe Union is Pound in Appalachia. So they are very good. Sports are big down there. And by the way, this is not just a sentimental pick. I like Central Wise coming out of there. I think, as Justin said, though, Floyd County is very battle tested. And I like Central Wise when I look at that draw. I like Central Wise to win it. That is a school that has won a bunch of state championships. I believe my cousin, they won 4, maybe straight baseball championships. That was single A ball back then before, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I like Central Wise. I believe Travis Turner, if that rings a bell, Justin. Yep. His dad, Tom Turner, yep. He was in Appalachia. He's the coach there now. Maybe at Union. I get the two mixed up.
It's Union.
But,
yep. Union.
Is it Union?
Yep.
But Central Wise. I like Central Wise. I think they are the favorite to definitely win that.
All right. Well, I'll go. Like I said, before I knew for sure, John Marshall. Why not? I mean, if I just say,
hey, Rusty, real quick, John Marshall's winning.
John
Marshall's winning by 65 a game in girls and regionals. They are winning by 65, so almost as many as the boys there.
Oh wow! Okay, yeah. All right.
But they haven't played as many.
Real quick, if anybody in Wise County watches this, okay, my mom's a Wampler. Everybody in Wise County knows the Wampler name, so it's a big name down there. So I just wanted to point that out. They're like, who is this guy? I used to go down there in the summers in the 70s, have a lot of fun. So, but yeah, Central Wise all the way.
All right, yeah, and so John Marshall also, because I had an uncle who was a shop teacher and the wrestling coach for years, Sam Young, at John Marshall, and so sentimental favorite. I'm going to go with John Marshall for that as well. All right, Matt, we'll let you wrap this class 2 up.
Kirk, you're a smart man because Central Wise is my pick here. I think they get it done. They've won 6 championships under Robin Dotson, who's got over 700 career wins. Emma McCamus. Anytime you have a 2,000-point scorer on your roster, it's good to go with them. And they've got one at Emma McCamus. I think Floyd County will give them a heck of a battle in the semis, and it might take more than the 32 minutes of regulation to decide who takes that one. But I like Wise. They lost last year to Clark County by 4. I think they get it done probably over John Marshall in the final because their girls have gotten hot here since the 12-8 start to win. I think it is 6 in a row, and they just ran through that region. But I like Wise and Dotson and McCamus. You got a great coach. You got a standout player. To me, it makes a lot of sense to go with them.
Sounds good. Class 1, and then we'll be done with the whole state in girls. And then I'll ask you all if we had to go best out of 1 through 6, and we meshed them all up who would win. But with Class 1, we got Eastside against Fort Chiswell. We got George with Honaker, and Essex against Brunswick, Buffalo Gap, Westmoreland. Some of these boys and girls programs are on both sides. Justin.
Yeah, George Wythe is 23-2. Essex is 24-0. I think those are 2 of the teams that to keep an eye out for, but a lot of good teams and a lot of familiar teams in Class 1. But I think those are the 2 that maybe keep an eye out for towards the finals.
Okay, Chris. You want to pull a Kirk Hilliard educated guess?
No, I am going to pull it. Isn't Buffalo Gap in this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
For some reason, I've seen Buffalo Gap. And, I can't remember I think they beat, Mountain View or something. I can't even remember, but I know they're good. So I'm going with Buffalo Gap.
All right. Kirk, you have any cousins from any of these programs?
No, but you're the guy that has a cousin everywhere. I would say, I would point out again, you got some really good athletic teams in here. George Wythe, Honaker, Justin Ditmore. You remember Brad Baylor, offensive lineman? I think he was Fort Chiswell. Yeah. The only one I don't know where it is Eastside. I don't know where that one is, but again, where is it?
Coburn, out there in the real
Oh
southwest.
my goodness!
Yeah.
I was about to say, well, what? I know my choice now.
He's got relatives in
East
Coburn.
side,
Come
East
on.
side is going to win it all, and here's why. Okay, in 1976, 77, there was no bypass. You had to go up Coburn Mountain and come down. So we went to the movies, and this is hilarious. It's getting late. I saw Bad News Bears, Rocky, and Smokey and the Bandit in Coburn, Virginia. Therefore, East Side is the Class 1 state champion.
All right. And we'll let Matt go last, but of course, I think Brian Stiff, I know he played there, won state champions, he coached there, and some of those family members are probably entwined in that Brunswick community, and so I've got Brunswick winning it all. Matt, tell me why I'm right.
Educated guy who knows these
listen,
things.
You all are all good on good points here. And Eastside lost last year in the final, if you recall, to Rappahannock County. It was a great back and forth game.
Oh, yeah.
They have an excellent chance. Essex is undefeated, as Justin said. I'm going to pick Buffalo Gap to hand Essex its first loss in the semis, but I got Buffalo Gap, Chris, falling in the championship game with George Wythe, who I think has the mixture of defense, offense to get it done. But of the 12 brackets we've gone through, 6 boys, 6 girls, this is the one I'm the least informed on as far as the players go. So it's a total shot in the dark on who takes it. I'll go with Wythe over Gap in the final. All
right. And then if we throw them all up, who's coming out? What one program in the state of Virginia do we think would win, would be the best girls program and win it all? If we had to pick a team to represent us.
Buffalo Gap runs the table. No, I can't say that for sure.
Is it Bison or Bisons? What is it, Chris? Is it Bison or Bisons?
I think it's the Bison.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Tom Hall, who just retired in Manchester, Justin Ditmore, he's a Virginia Tech guy. He played for Beamer. He started out at Buffalo Gap. I'll go with this one, Rusty. I think it's Thomas Dale, and then I would put Princess Anne. I would put those two. And if I went with the Final Four, I'd go Manchester. And the other one, I'd probably go with another Northern Virginia team. I don't know that Woodgrove is good enough to compete with some of those unbelievable 6 teams, because top to bottom, Northern Virginia is the best in girls basketball. I'm not talking about the best team, but top to bottom. And that's something else that Rusty and I talk about over and over again. You go into Fairfax County and you play football, okay? The worst team in those regions and districts would beat tons of teams in 757 and Richmond. And the thing is girls basketball is that way too. We talked about some programs tonight that, lost in the regional semifinals, quite frankly, that could win some of those other regions. But yeah, I would have to go with Thomasdale.
Yeah, I think that would be my pick. I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts, but again, it does depend on matchups. Sometimes this is the thing, and it will close on this, is as a basketball official for over 25 years, one of the things people do not remember or take into consideration, but yet when we're at the game, we're hollering at the refs, is officiating can play a big role. If you get your best player comes up with 2 or 3 fouls in the first half and they have to sit, especially in some of the lower classes, that can really make a difference. And last night, Gainesville OP, I won't talk about my fellow officials, but it can, let me just say, it can make a difference. And we'll forget about it maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. We'll just see a banner on the wall. But when you're playing with a way to be eliminated with 5 fouls, that can make a big difference. So,
and it affects, if you like to play physical, you need officials to let you play physical. And if you don't want to be physical, then you need refs to call everything. And if it doesn't line up exactly right, to your point, you could be the better team, but if the officials don't let you play the way you like to play, you may have a problem.
And if these officials aren't familiar with your style of play, because when you get to the state level, you may get officials that come from a different region, and they may, some of them could be, they're used to, maybe, I'm just using an example, say they let them play more in the 757, but maybe they call it tighter in the 804 or whatever. But when you get that, you got teams saying, wait a minute, what, that was a foul? And the other one saying, wait a minute, that was a foul.
Yeah.
So, all right, any closing remarks? We'll start with you, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, great point. I watched Wakefield versus Oscar Smith earlier, and their star player, Wakefield, Carlton Young, got 2 fouls early. You just don't know what's going to happen in these games. We can pick favorites all we want. All it takes is something like that to throw everything off. The depth of talent, guys. I think that's what we talk about across this. I'm always amazed by the depth of talent in Northern Virginia. This whole state, just the amount of talent and the amount of smaller teams that could be Class 6, Class 5 teams across the state of Virginia. It's amazing. So yeah. I'm looking forward. I can't wait to see you guys in Richmond.
Oh, yeah. I'm really looking forward to that, too. Justin, any final thoughts?
No, it's going to be a lot of fun. Basketball is great in this state, and there's always going to be that one Cinderella story, kind of out of Hoosiers. Somebody who kind of, got in by getting into the regional finals, and next thing you know, they get the right officiating matchup. Somebody gets hurt, somebody gets in foul trouble, and next thing you know, it's just a great time of year.
Yep. Kirk Hilliard.
I just want to talk about the girls and the fact that I love watching girls. I love how they play harder. They play fundamentally. And it's so funny, Justin Ditmore, girls are vicious when it comes to hoops and soccer. They are very, very physical. And the state of Virginia, Lakeisha Frett, 6'3", went to University of Georgia. Carol Lawson, Katie Smirka Duffy from Madison. But Rusty, our year, Penny Moore from Jeb Stewart was the #1 ranked player in the nation, Northern Virginia girl. And I'm leaving plenty of them out. We've just had an incredible history with women's basketball. And by the way, coaching. Rusty and I both know Terry Williams, Flournoy. Terry Williams is Boo Williams' younger sister. She was head coach at Auburn. She's at Penn State now. She went to Penn State. Nikki Reed Geckler. She was the head coach at Georgetown and Howard. She's back at Georgetown now, I believe. So there's others. There's a lot of history with Virginia basketball, women's basketball, and it's very exciting. I can't wait to see this. I think Chris Jollay and I are like we're betting on. We think Woodgrove, but in Northern Virginia also. I would love to see Northern Virginia upset those Richmond teams. I think they may be too strong, but it's a great time of year, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in Richmond.
All right, and then Matt, we'll let you close us out.
Hey guys, I wouldn't be surprised if we have more late game drama, a buzzer beater, overtime on the girls' side than even the guys' side. Last year of the 6 state championships, 3 were decided by 5 points or less. And if Darnell Dozier and Robin Dotson win championships again, they're going to have enough rings to open up a jewelry store. Those two guys, rings between them. I mean, it's going to be insane. So it should be a lot of fun, and we might get an instant classic or two.
Yeah. Well, look. I want to thank you guys for giving us this time. Your checks are in the mail. I can't afford you guys, but by the amount of hours you gave us tonight. But thank you so much. Appreciate you, Justin. Appreciate you, Chris. Of course, Matt, you're the man. And my co-host, Kirk. This has been the Kirk and Byrd Show. We are out.